16 of the fantasy football season, with semifinals coming up for most fantasy owners. Here's the top 12 defense DST units I'm ranking this week. Number 1, the Houston Texans. So this Texan defense, what a season it's been for them. And we've seen week after week they go out there, shut down high-powered offenses. So this week, a great matchup with the Vegas Raiders coming in. If it's Geno Smith, Kenny Pickett, I don't really think it matters. I think this Texan defense, they're going to go out there, they're going to get to the quarterback, they're going to create turnovers, hold them in the mid-teens, low 20s in this one. And like I said, this Vegas Raider offense all season long has had trouble moving the football. Number 2, Philadelphia Eagles. So last week they did verse the Vegas Raiders. They shut them out 31-0. This DST, hands down, one of the better units in all pro football. So this week, a good matchup at the Commanders. Obviously, Jaden Daniels, they ruled them out for the season. It's going to be Marcus Mariota once again in their quarterback. And I don't think Mariota is a bad quarterback, but he's also a quarterback that's going to take his sacks. He's going to turn the football over. And this is where this Eagle defense really takes advantage. And they could have a big game this week. Number 3, Kansas City Chiefs. So this Chief defense, they have a great matchup with the Tennessee Titans. And I thought this defense has been playing good for the majority of the season for this Kansas City Chief team. So obviously they eliminate from the playoffs 6-8 on the season, and with Patrick Mahomes out for the year with the ACL. But still, I think this defense is going to go out there and they're going to take it out on the rookie quarterback Cam Ward and this Tennessee offense that can't move the football. They don't really have a true number 1 wide receiver. Obviously, Calvin Ridley, he's been out pretty much the whole season. And this week, Kansas City, I think they go in there and they have a good game. Number 4, the Buffalo Bills is a 1-week streaming option. It's a great matchup with the Cleveland Browns. One of the worst offenses in the league, where pretty much their number 1 option in the whole offense is the rookie tight end, Harold Fannin Jr. Shedeur Sanders, he's holding on to the football way too long. He's taking big hits and turning the football over. And this Buffalo Bill team, we saw last week, this defense make adjustments in the second half and clamp down. After they were down 21-0, holding them to 10 points in the second half was the Patriots. So, like I said, they could build off that. And this week, it's a great matchup to get more confidence on defense in Cleveland. Number 5, the Denver Broncos. So this Bronco defense, they've been leaky a little bit, giving up some points to offenses over the last few weeks. But they still get to the quarterback. They still create turnovers. And they arguably got the 2 best defensive players at their positions, in Nick Bodito and Patrick Surtain. So this week, Jacksonville's coming in. Their offense is on fire, putting up huge numbers, even though it's first bad teams for the most part over the last few weeks. But like I said, this Bronco defense, I think in this one they'll create a couple turnovers. Lawrence is still turning the football over at a decent rate this season, and he's taking his sacks as well. So this week versus the Jaguars, I still like Denver as a top 5 option, even though Jacksonville's been playing great football. Number 6, the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings, their defense has always been the strength of their team, even with the quarterback struggles all season with Carson Wentz, McCarthy, Max Brosman that one game, but McCarthy the last 2 games, he's actually gone out there and he's played good football for this Minnesota Viking team. So this week with a good matchup at the depleted New York Giant offense. Obviously, Neighbors, he's been out majority of the season. Scatterbo, he's been out since week 8, where he dislocated and broke that ankle. So this week, I think this defense, they go out there and they make it a long day for Jackson Dart in this offense, and they could get to the quarterback and create turnovers. And we saw him last week going to Dallas, one of the more high-powered offenses in the league, and hold them to 23 points. Number 7, the San Francisco 49ers. So the 49ers, their defense has been playing good football over the last few weeks here. Robert Saleh, one of the better defensive coordinators in the league. And this week, it's a good matchup at the Indianapolis Colts, where Phillip Rivers, he's going to get a start once again. We know mobility isn't going to be there for Phillip Rivers, where last week they were protecting him with a lot of bubble screens, quick outs, and slant routes, where he really wasn't pushing the football down the field and forcing it. So this game, it's all about stopping Jonathan Taylor and making this offense one-dimensional. And I think San Francisco, they're going to do a good job at doing that. And the thing with Rivers as well, if you get a hand on him, he's going to go down, because obviously at 44 years old and not in the league for 5 years, he has no mobility, and I think he's more prone to turning the football over as well. Number 8, the New Orleans Saints. It was a 1-week streaming option. They have a great matchup with the New York Jets coming in, and we'll see who the quarterback's going to be for this New York Jet team. If it's going to be Tyrod Taylor returning, Justin Fields back in the lineup, or Brady Cook once again. Even though Cook, he made some decent throws in last week's game, but obviously that was a blowout at the Jacksonville Jaguars. But regardless who the quarterback is, I think this New Orleans Saints defense, they could go out there, get to the quarterback a little, led by Cameron Jordan and Chase Young on the defensive line. And also, like I said, this Jet offense, they don't really have a lot of options, where they got 2 young receivers in Adonai Mitchell, John Mechie at receiver, and the young tight end in Mason Taylor, where pretty much Breece Hall is the main threat in this offense. Number 9, the Seattle Seahawks. So the Seahawk defense, they're playing great football all season long. Last week, they won a field goal competition pretty much with the Indianapolis Colts winning at the buzzer in that one, where they didn't score a touchdown. So it was obviously a good defensive plan by Indianapolis. But this week, tough matchup. Los Angeles Rams coming in. You know the Rams are going to put touchdowns on the board regardless if Davante Adams is in or out of this ball game where he's a game-time decision. But Seattle, they're just different at home where they create turnovers. They get to the quarterback. Even though last week I thought they were going to have a huge game versus Rivers and the Colts, but there was a game management, safe play calling type of ball game for Indianapolis where they didn't put them in harm's way. But this week with the Rams coming in, it's going to be a tougher matchup. I still think Stafford, he's good for a turnover or two in this game, and they could get to him a couple times. Number 10, the Los Angeles Rams. So the Rams are going into Seattle. Last week they won, obviously, a high scorer versus the Detroit Lions was this Los Angeles Ram DST. But this Ram defense, they get to the quarterback, they create turnovers, and if they get off to an early lead, this is where they really start to tee off. And Sam Darnold's definitely struggled over the last month of the season where he's not putting points on the board, holding on to the football too long, and he's taking some big hits and big sacks. So with those factors, I still think the Rams, even if this is high scoring a little bit, still could create some turnovers and get sacks. Number 11, the Green Bay Packers. So we know Micah Parsons, unfortunately, out for the season, tearing the ACL, where he was chasing Bo Nix all day, and then on one of the sack attempts trying to get him, his leg just got planted in the ground, and that's where the knee popped. So this week a matchup with the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams, he's another young quarterback that's been inaccurate, holding on to the football. No doubt about it, he's an athlete, is Caleb Williams, and he makes some big plays at times, but also he's got some bad habits where it plays into the hands of a defense. I think this week, even with Parsons out, this defense is going to get to Caleb Williams a few times in this game. I think they'll create a turnover or two in this game, and it's all about how much they're going to hold them on the scoreboard too. So if they can hold them in the mid-teens, low 20s with a few turnovers and a few sacks, I think this Packer defense will be fine this week in the 12th and final. Defense DST I'm ranking this week is the Detroit Lions. So the Pittsburgh Steelers coming in. I know their offense is playing better over the last couple weeks, and Aaron Rodgers, he's wrote the ship the last 2 weeks where they've won 2 in a row is this Pittsburgh Steelers team. But like I said, Aaron Rodgers, 41 years old. You get a hand on him, you're going to go out there and make plays. And even last week, they got to Stafford a couple times, and Aiden Hutchinson had a nice interception in that game. So I think this week, yeah, this Pittsburgh could put some points on the board, but I still think Aaron Rodgers, another older quarterback, 41 years old, you get a hand on him, he's going to go down. And also as well, he's playing with a fractured hand as Aaron Rodgers. So this week, I think Detroit could crack the top 12 back home. So that's a top 12 defense DST units I'm ranking for Week 16 of the fantasy football season.